You action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here, and today I'm coming at you with a quick review of the new DC Multiverse Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack from McFarlane Toys. So this set comes in your standardized DC Multiverse type packaging. You've got the black box, you've got the huge window showing off the two figures. Down below you've got the DC Multiverse logo and the names of the characters. On the side you've just got the names of the characters once again. And then on the back of the packaging, you have artwork featuring both Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. All right, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figures outside of the packaging, along with all the contents that are included in this set. So first of all, you get the art cards that we always get with these DC Multiverse figures that have the brief bios on the back. So we get one for Booster Gold, and then also, of course, one for Blue Beetle. We get your standardized circle figure stands that we always get with the figures in this line that have the DC comic logo on them and the one peg, so that you basically don't have to worry about your figures falling over. And then besides the regular figure stands, we also get a diorama base with this one. So you've got a couple of pegs to stand the figures. This one is done with a metallic type silver. Looks like, the flooring, and you've got some wires and hoses and stuff strung about. So, again, something we often see with these 2-packs. Now, besides being able to stand the actual figures on this set, we get the Skeets accessory, and you're able to plug the Skeets into the diorama base, so it works for him as well. And you can actually rotate Skeets. This piece is attached to the Skeets, but again, there's a place to plug him in there, so which is kind of nice. Booster also comes with this blast effect that you can attach to the figure's wrist. So you just attach it to his wrist. You can put it on either hand. I don't know why they went with a blue color for the blast effect as opposed to like yellow or gold. I feel like the yellow would have looked better than the blue. We get a cell phone accessory that is done in yellow. On the other side, it's just black, a black blank screen, but you get that as well. And then finally, we get Beatles Gun, and they've made it look like kind of like Batman's grapple gun. So I'm guessing that's how they got it in here as an accessory. It's shooting out, it looks like it's shooting out the Beetle. And the gun is done with a metallic silver as opposed to the blue tint like you see in the comics. But overall, as far as the actual shape of it, it kind of looks like a blow dryer, which again is kind of how it looks in the comics. So overall, I would say they've done a pretty good job with that. And the figure has to hold it in the left hand because the right hand is a closed fist. So again, you can only get him to hold it in the left hand. All right, so real quick, here's a look at the figures on the diorama base. So you've got the Skeets here, and that's pretty cool that they made it so you could attach him there as well. One thing I will note, again with the blast effects, I don't really like the blue, even though I realize that like on the art card it's done with a blue color, but it doesn't. I feel like yellow would have looked better than blue. Also, it would have been nice if maybe we'd gotten 2 blast effects for each wrist. And then with Beatles Gun, one thing I wanted to note here is this thing sticking out is not removable. It would have been nice if you could actually pull it out from the gun, but it's not. You could cut it off if you want to, and I might even suggest that you do that because I think the gun looks better without that sticking out of it. But I'm sure they had to include that so it didn't actually look like an actual gun. It looked more like something like a grapple gun like Batman has. Okay, now for the figures themselves. So overall, I'm pretty happy with these figures, though I do have some complaints. So right off the bat, one thing I would have liked to have seen with both Beetle and Booster is if they had made their visors and pieces translucent, so you could actually see their eyes, kind of like you see in the comic book art behind them. Instead, they've done just a solid yellow color on both of them. So again, I think it would have looked a lot better if they'd done translucent plastic and then allowed to see the eyes of the figures. I'm sure it was probably more cost effective just to paint them, so you didn't have to have the eye detail and everything underneath. But again, I feel like the figures would have looked better had they gone with like a translucent plastic for the eye pieces. Okay, now with Booster, so with his head sculpt, he does have kind of a big goofy smile, but you know that is kind of in keeping with the character, so that doesn't bother me too much. I would have liked maybe a little more neutral expression on him, but again, the smile does kind of go with the character. Overall, other than again not having the translucent plastic on the visors, you know, I think the hair looks pretty good, the mask, the skin tone, everything looks pretty good on the head sculpt for this one. The body overall doesn't look too bad. You've got the yellow and then the dark navy blue. However, one thing I will say, so, you know, like we see with most of these DC Multiverse figures, they've been doing the rubber type material on the crotch sections. And on my Booster here in the back area, I don't know, it just looks a little bit off. It's almost like this butt cheek kind of hangs down a little bit. So I don't know, to me that just looks a little bit off on the figure. And then one other area where I have a little bit of an issue is the yellow on the knees are a little bit darker than the rest of the figure. I don't know how well that shows up on the camera, but the yellow on the knees are a little bit darker. So and then also, I don't know, he has these lines on his boots which look a little bit off to me. I'm not sure, I don't remember that being part of the costume. And then with the Blue Beetle figure, probably I prefer the Blue Beetle figure. I like it a little bit better than the Booster Gold figure. I think it came out looking a little bit better. Head sculpt, again, has kind of a big goofy smile, but not too big a deal. Again, I would have preferred the translucent lenses, but that is what it is. I do have a little bit of bleeding there on the belt buckle onto the actual belt. You know, the yellow's bleeding over a little bit on the black, but nothing too major there. I will say probably the reason why I like the Beetle figure better than the Booster Gold figure is because, you know, again, using that kind of rubber material there at the crotch section, but I think it comes off looking better on this figure on both the front and then also on the back. Now these figures stand, Booster is a little bit over 7 inches, and then Beetle also a little bit over 7 inches. They're pretty close to the same height, but, you know, Booster is maybe a hair taller than Blue Beetle. And then here, for a quick comparison, here's a look at the DC Multiverse Flash figure that McFarlane Toys has released. Now for articulation, it's almost exactly the same on the two figures, so I'm just going to go over it with the Booster Gold figure. You can turn the head all the way around, he can look down about that much, and he can look up about that much. With the arms, you can get out pretty good. You have those butterfly type joints, so you get some back and forth movement, you got good rotation. You have a bicep swivel, you have a double hinged elbow, so you can bend his elbow about that much. You've got rotation with the hands, you've got good up and down movement there with the hands. You've got a midsection joint, so you've got rotation there. You can pivot to the left and the right. You really don't get an ab crunch though, so you can't crunch forward very well. He can look back better than he can look forward. And then you also get the waist swivel with this one. You get that rubber crotch piece, so again, you know, that kind of moves with the figure. Always worry that this is going to get stretched out, and again, I just don't like the way this figure looks from the back. But he can do the splits good. You can get the leg forward good. You can do the leg back pretty good. You get that up high thigh type swivel with this one. You get a double jointed knee, so you can bend his knee pretty good. You do not get boot cuff swivels, but you have hinges on the feet, so up and down movement. You get ankle pivot, and you also get toe articulation with both of these figures. Okay, so that's my review. So while I do have some minor issues with the figures, especially with the Booster Gold figure, I really don't like how that rubber crotch section looks from behind on the figure, and I would have loved to have seen the translucent lenses on the figures. But still, overall, you know, I don't think these are bad looking figures, and I'm very glad that they gave us these kind of classic versions of these two characters. I think they did a pretty good job overall. If you're a fan of these characters, this is a set I would recommend that you check out. Now, this set is available at places like our sponsors, Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. And as always, I'd love to hear your own thoughts about the figures down in the comment section below. Like the video if you're so inclined. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys, and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great!